Hello guys, hope you guys are doing well. This is Numpy Class 2. In this class we are going to talk about array creation, routines, array from existing data, arrays within the numerical range. Let's talk about array creation routine. A new ND array object can be constructed by any of the following array creations routines or using a low-level ND array constructor. The first one was numpy.empty. It creates an uninitialized array of specific shape and d-type. The constructors are numpy.empty in brackets shape d-type is equal to float, order is equal to c. I'll tap it on the screen so that you can note it down. numpy.empty shape d-type is equal to float, order is equal to c. I'll reduce the font so that you can see it on one screen. Okay, it's not capital, small. Here, shape describes as shape of an empty array, int or tuple of int. D-type is a data type, desired output data type. It's an optional. And the order, C for C style, row measured array, F for Fortune style, column measure array. Let's take an example. Let's see numpy empty. Now numpy dot empty. First we'll import numpy as np x is equal to np dot empty brackets 3 comma 2. This is the shape, comma the type is equal to int. Now print of x. Now I'll execute this code and see. So we have a data type of 1 2 3 4 5 6. So we are requesting the shape for 3 by 2. So we have 3 by 2 here. So automatically it's taken 1 to 6 digits. Right. Now the next one was numpy 0. It returns a new array of a specified size filled with zeros. Copy this and paste it under this. So that will be easier for you. I'll change the size to 24. And for this one, let's change it to red. For this one, we type numpy dot 0. And here we have shape, the type is equal to float, order is equal to c plus, and the n is small n. So I'll change it to red and change it to 32. Right. So here shape of an empty array in int or sequence of int. In int or sequence of int. And here data type, desired output data type, it's an optional. And order C. C for C style, row measure array. F for Fortran style, column measure array. Let's take a look at an example. Numpy. Here, array of 5 zeros. Default data type is float. First, we'll import numpy as np, and here x is equal to np dot zeros. I'm taking as 5, and here print x. So it should display 5 zeros. So we have 5 zeros. Let's take another example. Let's import numpy as np, x is equal to np dot zeros, 5, d type is equal to np dot int, print of x. Let's execute this. So we have here zeros. So you can see the difference between the first example output and the second example output. In the first example output, we have dot after each zero, but in the second example we don't have dot. The reason was we have used data type np.int, so it's displaying as an integer. Right, let's go back to the third one is ones. So it returns a new array of a specified size and type filled with ones, and its equation is numpy.0 shape type. Sorry, numpy dot, this is not zeros, this is ones. Data is equal to float, order is equal to C, bracket close. I'll change it to red, and here I'll change the size. Now you can see it on the screen. This is parameter of the constraint parameters. Now let's check the parameters of the constraints are shape, as we discussed earlier with empty and zeros. Shapes of an empty array is int or tuple of int. Data type, d type, desired output data type. This is an optional, and the order of C is C for C style row measure array, F for Fortran style column measure array. Let's look at the code. Is numpy dot once. First, we'll import the numpy as np, and then x is equal to np dot. You can enter the initial and press the tab key. It will show you the options there. So we need to look for ones, ONES ones we have here. We can do it that way as well. And the last line is print of x. Let's execute this code. So we have print of x. And let's check out with the another example where you can find out in different way. Numpy as np, x is equal to np dot once. So I'm looking for 2 by 2 here, and d type is equal to int. So by int it will replace the points. Print of x. Let's execute this. So we have 2 by 2 of ones. Right, guys? And we'll move to next topic, array from existing data. So in this we have numpy.as array, and the second was numpy.from from iter from iter. Numpy provides us the way to create an array by using the existing data. Numpy as array. This routine is used to create an array by using the existing data in the form of list or tuples. This routine is useful in the scenario where we need to convert a Python sequence into the NumPy array object. The syntax to use the as array is, I'll type it here, is numpy.as array sequence data type is none, and we have order is equal to none. This is our syntax, right? And here the sequence is the Python sequence which is to be converted into the Python array. And here data type is same as what we have discussed before. It is the data type of each item of the array. And the order is the same as it can be set to C or F. The default is C. Now we'll look into an example. numpy.as array. I change it to heading, and here I'll type it 3, enter. Alright, first we'll import numpy as np, and I is equal to square bracket 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here a is equal to np dot as array of I, print type of a, and now I'll print a. So let's find out the type of a as well as the a. I'll execute this code. The type of a is numpy nd array, and the print a is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Let's check out another example by creating an numpy array using tuple. Let's import numpy as np. I is equal to, for in tuple we use round brackets 1 2 3 4 6 7, and a is equal to np dot as array I, print type of a, and now print a. Let's execute this code, see what we have. We have numpy nd array, we have the same here, and we got the same answer here. Right, this is how we can use it. Let's try with one more example. Creating a numpy array using more than one list. First import numpy as np. I is equal to, so in list we use 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and we have one more 8 and 9 is separate. This is our list. A is equal to np dot as array of I. Now we print type of A and print A. Let's see what we have. Numpy ND array, and we have the least as 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and the least as 8 of 7. So we checked with least, we checked with tuple, right? And we checked with the numpy array using the list, single list and double list. So hope this might help you guys to understand this concept of numpy as array. Let's move to numpy for meter. This function builds an ND array object from any iterable object. A new one-dimensional array is returned by this function. New one-dimensional array is returned by this function. The syntax for this is numpy that as array, as parameter, iterable, comma, d type is equal to comma. You can use it default count is equal to -1. This is our syntax for numpy for meter. Let's get into the deeper side of this. The parameter of constructors are the iterable, any iterable object. It can be any iterable object. D type, data type of resultant array, and the count, the number of items to be read from iterator. By default it is -1, which means all data to be read. Let's look into the example. Numpy dot meter. And this example demonstrates the use of parameter function. Let's import numpy as np, and the list is 0, 2, 4, 6. This is our list, and iterator is equal to iter of list, and x is equal to np dot parameter, that is iterator is it. So here you can notice that we have an iterable, right? That's the reason we are using this iterable, right? D type is equal to float, and the print of x. Let's execute this code. So we have 0 2 4 6 is the result, right? So let's move to next topic, numpy arrays within the numerical range. In this section, we will illustrate how the numpy arrays can be created using some given specified range. In this, we have numpy range. It creates an array by using the evenly spaced values over the given interval. The syntax to be used range function is, let's see the syntax. What will be the syntax for this? That is numpy dot range start stop step d type. This is the syntax, right? And the parameter for these constructors are the start. What is the start? the starting of an interval. By default, it is 0. And the second was stop, represents the value at which the interval ends, excluding this value. And the step, the number by which the interval values changes. And the data type, the data type of the NumPy array items. Right. Let's let's look into a few examples here. NumPy.range. First we'll import NumPy as NP and array arr np dot range 0 comma 10 comma 2, and here we have print arr. So what output are you expecting? So here we have a start. I'll copy this from here. That will be easier to explain you guys so that you can understand easily. So I'll comment this. See, so we have start. So I'm telling Python to start with 0 and stop at 10, and the step is 2. So we should have the result as 0 2 4 6 8. We have 0 2 4 6 8. Cool. Let's try with another example. Import numpy as np arr is equal to np dot range, start with 10 till end 100, step is 5, and the data type is int, and print. I'll make it some look good. The array over the given range is comma arr, print. Now you can see that start with 10, step is 5, end is 100. Right. We move to second one. Numpy linspace. This function is similar to arrange function. In this function, instead of step size, the number of evenly spaced values between the intervals is specified. The usage of this function is let's type it here, the syntax linspace start stop num end point endpoint, then restep comma retype. This is the syntax. And I'll change the font size so that it comes into one line and change it to red. Okay, let's start. The starting value of the sequence, stop. The end value of the sequence, included in the sequence if endpoints set to the true. Endpoints set to the true. The the number of evenly spaced samples to be generated. Default is 50. And the endpoint, what is the endpoint? True by default, hence the stop value is included in the sequence. If false, it is not included. Rest step. If true, return samples and step between the consecutive numbers, and the data type of output in the array. Let's demonstrate the use of linspace function in Jupyter Notebook. numpy.linspace. Let's import numpy as np. X is equal to np dot linspace. So starting step is 10, 20 and 5. I'll copy this code here and I'll paste it here and I'll comment it. Right. I said start at 10, stop at 20, the number is 5. Let's execute this code and see what would be the results we have. Sorry, I forgot the last line. So we need to print of x. So we have 10, 12.5, 15, 17.5, 20. Right. So every 2.5 we have a rest. The number of evenly spaced samples to be generated. Endpoint true. Rest step if true returns samples and step between the consecutive number. So it steps between the consecutive number. Between the consecutive number. You can see it here. Let's try with one more example. In this example, I will endpoint set to false. First import numpy np is equal to np dot linspace starts with 10, 20 and step is 5 and the endpoint is equal to false. In false you have to use capital F and print of x. So now here see what you have is the endpoint is false. So what is given 10, 12, 14, 16. So endpoint by default it will be true. So the stop value is included in the sequence. If false, it is not included. So it says false, it is not included. Right. We'll move to next topic. This is log space. This functions returns and ND object that contains the numbers that are evenly spaced on a log scale. Start and stop endpoints of the scale are indices of the base, usually 10. Let's see the syntax of this. Numpy dot log space start stop num endpoint base d type. This is the syntax for log space. That is the point. Okay. See the difference between the linspace and the log space. In linspace, so we have rest step. In log space, we have base. That's the only difference. Let's see the description of the parameters are start. The starting point of the sequence is base start, and the stop, the final value of a sequence is base stop, and the number of values between the range, by default it is 50, and the endpoint, if true, stop is the value in the range, and the base is based of log space default is 10, and the data type of output array, if not given, it depends upon other input arguments. Now the example will help you understand the log space function. Numpy dot log space. Import numpy as np. Default base is 10, right? Here a equal to np dot log space is 1.0 comma 2.0 comma num is equal to 10. Let's try this. Print a and execute this code. So what we have here, see, this will be our output. Let's try with another example. Set base of log space to 2. 2. That before was 10 and now it is 2. Import numpy as np is equal to np dot log space in brackets 1 comma 10 comma num is equal to 10 and the base is 2 and print of x. So what we have here, we have 10, 12, 14, 16, and because the base is 2, right? Hope you guys understood the concepts. It's not that hard, so only you need to practice in different scenarios so that you get perfect in that. So you need to understand the scenarios where we are heading towards. This will be our end of the session for Numpy class 2. So we'll join you next session. Practice more. If you have any doubts, feel free to contact me. Till then, take care. We'll join you next session. Bye bye.